Hello there.
Welcome to Paper Tuesdays.
Yes, it's very exciting for you. New year, new you, and you can start it off the right way with Marc and Fitness. You can do your online classes. No, not online, sorry. You can book online for your classes. And they're Monday to Friday, 7, 8, 9.
7, 8, 9, yeah, Monday to Friday. Book it in, use the app, DM me, or just show up.
Yeah.
The app is fairly pointless.
But there's, it's very reasonably priced at a solid €8 session.
€8, and they take a fee off me.
Yeah, so donations are also welcome.
If you want to pay that extra 60 cents.
Marc, Monarchy, I wanted to discuss it with you because the reason I wanted was in 2 days' time is the Feast of the Epiphany. Shout out to the Epiphany guys. And they are the three kings, the Magi. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it, but they're meant to have brought gifts to our Lord Jesus or whatever. And it got me thinking, well, why are they kings?
Right.
Like, because they're known as the three kings, but what were they kings of? So then I did a little bit of research, and it turns out that they were just known as like wise people, that they may not have been kings, they may not have had a kingdom.
Right.
And another curveball here I'm going to throw in.
Right.
There may not have been three of them. We just know that there were wise men that brought gold, frankincense, and myrrh.
Right. There were three items.
It could have been Castletown senior football team, and they said, lads, we'll all chip in, send a bit of Revolut, and we'll get the lads gold, frankincense, and myrrh.
Yeah. Like, how heavy is gold, frankincense, and myrrh?
Sure, it could be a tiny bit of it. It could be a lot, but I'd say, I don't know.
Anyway, I don't remember ever hearing they were kings.
We three kings of Orient far, da da da. Da. I don't know the rest of the
I'd never heard that. Did you know?
Well, that celebrates the myth and the legend of these Magi.
And they only came today. Or in 3 days.
In 2 days, 6th of January, the Epiphany.
6th of January.
Yeah.
That's not in 2 days.
It's the 4th of January.
Sorry, yes.
I've done that thing again. Or I talk in the future.
We live in the future.
Yeah.
Fuck.
So now,
But I always thought it was Christmas they came. Jesus was born and they were there the day he was born.
oh, right.
So his birthday presents for Jesus.
Birthday presents, yeah. No, 6th of January. I don't know why, yeah. And then you'd wonder, yeah, they were a long time in the manger, weren't they?
And are they traditionally like, is one of them black? Because I seen a nativity scene the other day and one of it was black, and I was like, is this like the new culturally acceptable crib, or was it always the case? Like, do we have descriptions of these three kings?
No, exactly. We don't even know if there are three of them. So, like, it's all kind of left up open to interpretation.
Open to interpretation.
Yeah.
The one who shall not be named could be one of the kings.
Yeah, definitely. I'm betting my money on my bottom dollar that he is one, all right.
Yeah, we still haven't
done the
Patreon to reveal his name, but I think we'll give another clue this week just for people so they could get it.
Right.
So the setup of the joke that his name is the punchline of is what would happen? Do you say his first name in the?
No.
What would
happen if the church burned down?
Yeah, what would happen if the church in Gorey burned down?
Okay, answers on a postcard, please. So yeah, that got me thinking about the monarchy, and it also got me thinking. I did a little bit of research, and I know you did too. But apparently, one of the most interesting facts about monarchy is that actually, what do you call him? Oh, intelligent man from England, Stephen Fry, I think.
Yes.
Yeah. He was on a podcast with Jordan Peterson, and he was lobbying for monarchy, and he was saying that it is because of monarchy, people are extremely happy. That the happiest countries in the world are monarchies.
Our monarchs are the happiest people in the world.
I'd say they are. But I was interested then to find that like Denmark is a monarch. Yeah, it's a monarchy. And its Transparency International has repeatedly found Denmark to be among the least corrupt countries in the world. And as well as that, it's also meant to be one of the happiest countries in the world. So how do you... Yeah, it's reported to be the happiest country in the world. And as well as that, there are a lot of interesting facts about Denmark that it has 14 Nobel laureates, 4 of them in literature. I don't think we have that many anyway. It's actually one of the highest numbers of Nobel laureates per capita in the world. So there are some statistics to anecdotally support this fact that monarchies may be happier than democracies.
Yeah.
So actually, I'm going to keep going, Mark. I'm not going to let you come in here.
No, it's fine.
Because I've just remembered one of the most interesting things was I went onto Reddit. That's where we normally do.
Oh, yes.
There is a monarchy subreddit. Guess how many people are members and followers of this?
90,000.
Okay, 30,000. Still a lot
I
of
overshot
people.
there, sorry.
Still a lot of people.
Yeah.
I just didn't think monarchy would be as popular a concept.
It's big. A lot of people
is big.
follow like the English family, and that's their thing. You know, they love.
Yeah, but I thought it stopped at like, you know, Hello Magazine and that sort of like looking in, peering in. But no, I think people do actually like the idea of a family taking control. They're the sovereign. That's it.
Why though? They're the God's represent. No, they're not. They used to be, wasn't it? They were the closest to God.
Yeah, and they have family trees done back as far as they can go and that sort of thing. They try and, you know, that is support, that bolsters their legitimacy, you know, I suppose. And that's, over the years, legitimacy has been a big thing. It caused many wars within monarchs, and that's, I think that's why that they have to say, oh, we're rooted to God, so...
Well, like, what was Stephen Fry's reasoning for monarchist countries being happier?
Just that you didn't have the rule by... Oh, actually, sorry. I remember now the example he gave. So every week in England, the Prime Minister goes in and sits down with the monarch at the time, and The Crown depicts these exchanges really well. I love watching them.
The Crown, the Netflix
Crown
series.
Yeah. Thatcher and the Queen and the
there was a good
Roly
who was
Boly.
it? Someone was watching The Crown. One of the monarchs came up recently, and was it Prince Andrew came up in the news, and someone said, "Oh, but he was very good in The Crown."
Oh yeah. I think that was actually Geraldine Cullen when Prince Philip died. Shout out Geraldine.
To give away a name there.
Yeah, I think
it's funny.
Yeah, but in The Crown. Oh yeah, so the weekly meetings that Stephen Fry then says, you know, because this Prime Minister isn't answerable in like saying to someone, well, what are you doing this week, or what have you done this week? Then it's like, because in America there isn't that quality. You don't have someone going into, his example was, you don't have the US president sitting down with Uncle Sam. You just have someone going in. But this interview was conducted before what we've seen lately with Boris Johnson, and like, I don't think Boris Johnson really benefits from his weekly meetings. I think he could improve maybe a little bit on them. So
probably.
But that's the premise of it, that because there's a weekly form for a little bit of accountability and a permanent feature, that it provides stability in a bad.
And does the Queen have a lot of scope?
It didn't seem like that. It never seemed like that in the Crown or anything. It seemed like it was more in terms of like, say, like what was depicted rather strongly in the Crown was, you know, like the miners' strikes, and you know, the Queen could have been appealing to Thatcher to show more humanity in those instances. So, like, there was no real power, but I suppose in terms of power, it could have been soft power in terms of, you know, guiding.
Is her word final though, the Queen? No, it's not. She's not just like.
I don't think so. There's an annual. Again, I'm not an expert in this now, but there's an annual ceremony where the Queen, appears. The Queen speaks in the Parliament and that, and there is a formality of like the Queen approving or renewing Parliament. But you know, in this day and age, the form of power is very soft, it seems.
It definitely used to be. They used to have a lot more, didn't they?
Yeah.
I remember reading about Benjamin Disraeli. Did you ever hear of him?
Yeah.
He's the man who sort of like swooned the Queen and kind of got what he wanted from her just through manipulation or flirting or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like that when it comes down to one person, you know, it can be kind of, they can have their blinders on as to certain things. So you're making a personal decision about a mass amount of people. So there it could be better to kind of have more of a government, decentralised decision-making process, which probably they do now. But like the royal family aren't without faults either. Do you know, like with fucking Princess Diana and Harry and Meghan. It's an issue, I think.
But yeah, but is that a case that's, well, I don't know what to say about Andrew, but say Harry and Meghan, that's not subscribing to, they are not really willing to subscribe to monarchy. And I don't think many people are really in today's world.
We all know it's bollocks.
Right.
How are they driven from God?
Whatever.
What makes them better?
Right. Okay. See, I don't know. It's the position that they hold that I think is fascinating. You know, that no longer these people are above us. Okay, I see, so now I see kind of where your logic of coming in was like, how are these people from God? Yeah. It's interesting because then there was a meme on this Monarchy Reddit page, as there are, I'm sure, and like it was the crying emoji, and it was like, we've had our fifth leader in our democracy, and he's corrupt again or whatever, and there's that's why you have a monarchy, like that's it then. Debate over. So
yes, that's as if like the monarchy has never been corrupt, or King Henry VIII didn't murder all those women. Fuck's sake. Do you ever go to the Tower of London?
No.
It's fascinating. You get to see all the jewels and all, and just the fucking sheer amount of wealth is unbelievable. And the stuff these lads got away with is crazy as well. Like it's fucking it's rough. Like he was just murdered women who couldn't give him babies, and he buried them all next to each other, like public assassinations.
Yeah.
There was one, I think it was one of King Henry VIII's wives, but she was paying undue attention to one of his guards. And I don't think the beefeaters, who are like the people who bring you around the Tower of London, the people who've been in the English military for so long, what the frame they were sort of putting on it was that she wasn't like cheating on the king with this lad, but then when he sentenced her to death, she like kissed him publicly in front of everyone just as she was about to be executed, as just kind of a last fuck you to him, like.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
That's fascinating. So you're happy enough with democracy, we're going to keep it here for the moment?
I think so, yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Unless Flood wants to run for...
Oh, yeah. Well, sure, speaking of Flood, we may as well throw him in here now, I suppose. What did Santi bring you, Mark?
A hat. This hat.
Oh. Right. Something different.
The end.
The end.
I know, I got lots of stuff. I was very happy.
Good. Where's James? Here he is.
Well, if there's ever a crowd of gobshites, it's that shower in Mehair. They haven't a fucking Scooby-Doo. Either that or they just don't care, and they're sitting up in their big queer building laughing at everyone here in Wexford. Torrential rain, people washed over, lives destroyed, businesses ruined. And the boys in Mehair didn't give a shite, never gave us any warning, never told us anything about it. But fair play to the council lads and everyone else out doing a bit. Only for them, I tell you something, we'd all be in bother. So a big well done to the councilmen. And Mehair need to go and have a good long hard look at themselves in the mirror, because they made a sack of it this time.
A good word about the council.
Yeah. For once.
Finally getting the recognition they deserve. Fucking hell.
But see, because the rain has caused the potholes, in a month's time, they could be in the bad books with our flood because of the potholes.
Did you see the bridge down in Blackwater?
Bridgetown looked bleak.
And the Riverside Hotel.
Oh, Janie, I didn't see that.
In Escorted, in the bottom floor of that. Completely flood.
Oh, Janie.
Somewhere else. Where was it?
Toss Burns, there was like $5,000 worth of damage done. There was over 3 foot of water in it.
Janie, man.
Yeah, it was up to like the halfway up the front door.
And Springmount Garden Centre?
Yeah, that's the other one I was thinking of.
Janie.
Destroyed. Completely out of nowhere.
Yeah.
It was rough. Just on monarchies, Michael. So there's more monarchies than England, apparently.
Right.
So here are the 9 of the worst monarchs in history.
Okay.
So the first one was Gaius Caligula. Have you heard of this one? From 12 AD to 41 AD. After promising... there are plenty of other contenders for worst Roman Empire, Nero and Commodus, for example, but Caligula's mad reign set a high standard. After promising to start his reign, he seems to have set out specifically to intimidate and humiliate the Senate and high command of the army. He gave grave offence, not least in Jerusalem, by declaring himself a god. Even the Romans normally only recognised deification after death. Caligula instituted a reign of terror through arbitrary arrest for treason, much of his predecessor Tiberius had done. Much as his predecessor had done. It was also widely rumoured that he was engaged in incest with his sisters and that he lived a life of sexual debauchery, and this may well be true. The story of his making his The story of his making his horse a consul, meanwhile, may have been exaggerated, but it was not out of character. Caligula's unforgivable mistake was to jeopardize Rome's military reputation by declaring a sort of surreal war on the sea, ordering his soldiers to wade in and splash at the waves with their swords, and collecting chests full of seashells as the spoils of his victory over the god Neptune, king of the sea, and his failed campaign against the Germans, for which he still awarded himself a triumph. He was assassinated by the Praetorian Guard in AD 41.
Wow. Genie.
The next one here is Pope John the 12th.
Okay.
Do you know about this?
I think I do.
Go on, tell us.
I think there was like wild scenes of debauchery.
We'll find out. Even by the lax standards of the medieval papacy, John the 12th stands out as a disaster of the highest order. He was elected pope at the ripe old age of 18 as part of a political deal with the Roman nobility, and he inherited a conflict of control over Italy between the papacy and the Italian king Berengarius. John had the support of the powerful German Emperor Otto I, who swore to defend John's title, but John himself was too taken up with a life of drunken sex parties in the Lateran to care too much either way. He recovered from his hangover enough to accept Otto's oath of undying loyalty, and then promptly linked up behind Otto's back with his enemy, Berengarius. Understandably annoyed, Otto had John overthrown and accused, among other things, of simony, which is clerical corruption, murder, perjury and incest, and he replaced him with the new Pope, Leo VIII. However, John made a comeback and had Leo's supporters punished ruthlessly. One cardinal had his hand cut off, and he had a bishop whipped. Full-scale war broke out between John and Otto until John unexpectedly died in bed with another man's wife, or so rumour has it.
Oh. Well, what year was that, Mark?
That was 954 to 964.
My God.
It's the backing music. R.I.P. for King Pope John. Will we take a few more?
Oh, yeah,
Keep going?
yeah, absolutely.
King John was 1199 to 1216. The reign of King John is a salutary reminder that murder and treachery may possibly be forgiven in a monarch, but not incompetence. John was the youngest and favourite son of Henry II, but he had not been entrusted with any of the lands and was mockingly nicknamed John Lackland. He tried unsuccessfully to seize power while his brother Richard I was away on crusade and was sent to exile upon Richard's return. On his accession, John had his own nephew Arthur murdered, fearing Arthur might pursue his own much better claim to the throne, and he embarked on a disastrous war with King Philippe Auguste of France, in which he lost the whole of Normandy. This singular act of incompetence depraved the barons of an important part of their power base, and he alienated them further with arbitrary demands for money and even by forcing himself on their wives. In exasperation, they forced him to accept Magna Carta. This is why was King John murdered? Was he murdered? In exasperation, they forced him to accept Magna Carta no sooner than he had sealed it. However, then he went back on his word and plunged the country into a maelstrom of war and French invasion. Some tyrants have been rehabilitated by history, but not John.
I think he's connected. I think he built a castle in Limerick.
Did he?
I think he did.
John,
King John.
Just King John, no numbers.
No
he was
numbers.
the first then, was he?
I think so, yeah. I think there's only been one.
Let's see, is there any good ones here? I just want to see ones with rape and sex in them. Oh, here we have Ivan the Terrible,
Okay.
who is Ivan the Fourth. That's 1547 to 84. Prince Ivan Vasilyevich grew up in the hazardous court of Moscow, his life often in danger from rivalry of the boyars, who were the nobles. It gave him a lifelong hatred of the nobility and a deep streak of ruthless cruelty. Aged 13, he had one boyar eaten alive by dogs. Ivan was Prince of Muscovy from 1533, and in 1547 he was crowned Tsar, which is the Emperor of all of Russia, the first ruler to hold the title. He crushed the boyars, stealing their lands to give to his own followers. He also condemned millions of Russians to a permanent state of serfdom. Rough-looking man, look.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to meet him.
Ivan took a vast area of Russia as his personal domain, patrolled by a mounted police force with carte blanche to arrest and execute as they liked. Distrusting the city of Novgorod, he had it violently sacked and its inhabitants massacred, and he embarked on a disastrous and ultimately unsuccessful series of wars with Russia's neighbours. Ivan beat up his own pregnant daughter-in-law and killed his son in a fit of rage. Ivan was, in many ways, an able ruler, but his ruthlessness, paranoia, and taste for blood earned him a place in this list. You've probably heard of this next one. Right. Mary, Queen of Scots.
Right, yeah. I haven't read onto her, yeah. Okay.
1542 to 67. We are so familiar with the drama and tragedy of Mary, Queen of Scots' reign that it is easy to overlook the blindingly obvious point that she was absolutely useless as Queen of Scotland. Admittedly, ruling 16th century Scotland was no easy task, and it was made harder for Mary by the stern Presbyterian leader John Knox and her violent boorish husband Lord Darnley. I went to a Presbyterian mass once I told you this before, have I?
No.
You were there. In Florida.
Oh, yes.
It was Easter Sunday, and we weren't going to miss Mass on Easter Sunday, apparently. So my dad drove around Florida for like 2 hours, probably more, to find a church, a Catholic church. And then he found a Presbyterian one, which for some reason, like, he was like close enough. So we went in there, and it was all these African Americans in the robes and stuff.
Oh, wow.
And they were like clapping and singing and chanting. And 1 hour went by, and like I'd be sick of Mass after half an hour, like, and 1 hour went by, and like that was like, sure, it's nearly over. Another hour went by, and he's like, right, we'll give it 5 more minutes. We waited another 20 minutes, and it still wasn't over, so we walked out. Spent like 2.5 hours of just singing and clapping. We don't even know what God we were praising.
Was it good singing?
It was good, actually. It was very entertaining, but God, the energy of those people to keep that going for that long. Anyway, back to Mary. Nevertheless, Mary showed none of her cousin Elizabeth I's political skills in diffusing religious or factional conflict. She headed into the pointless confrontation with Knox and the Presbyterians. At a time when female rule was generally regarded with suspicion in any case, she played up to the stereotype by appearing to live in a cosy world of favourites, including her unfortunate Italian guitar player, David Rislow. Mary suspected involvement in the spectacular murder of Darnley on 10th of February 1567 was a political mistake of her first order. Her marriage 3 months later to the main suspect, the Earl of Bothwell, was an act of breathtaking stupidity. It is hardly surprising that the Scots overthrew Mary and locked her up. Having escaped, she was mad to throw away her advantage by going to England, where she could only be regarded as a threat, instead of to France, where she would have to be welcomed with open arms. I don't know who this is. Queen Ranavalona I of Madagascar.
Oh,
so 1828 to 61. At a time when Europeans were spending their colonial holdings around the world, Queen Ravalona was able to keep Madagascar free of British and French control, but she did so by establishing a rule so ruthless that it has been estimated that the population of her kingdom was halved during her reign. Queen Ravalona managed to maintain her power by retaining loyalty of the Malagasy army and imposing regular periods of forced labour on the rest of the population in lieu of taxation. On one notorious occasion, she organised a buffalo hunt for herself, her nobles, and the families and their followers, and she insisted that an entire road be built in front of the party for them all to advance to the hunt in comfort. An estimated 10,000 people died carrying out this particular force of folly. Queen Ravalona faced several plots and at least one serious coup attempt. As she grew more paranoid, she forced more people to undergo the notorious Tagena test, eating 3 pieces of chicken skin before swallowing a poisonous nut that caused the victim to vomit. If it did not actually poison them, which it often did, if all 3 pieces were not found in the vomit, the victim was executed.
Oh my gosh.
Having encouraged Christianity at the start of her reign, Queen Ravalona changed policy and instituted ruthless persecution of native Christians. She survived all plots against her and died in her bed.
Oh.
And their last one then is King Leopold of Belgium, 1865 to 1909. Leopold's place in this list results not from his rule in Belgium, but from the crimes he committed in the enormous kingdom he carved out for himself in the Congo.
Right.
He obtained the territory by international agreement and named the Congo Free State. It was not a Belgian colony, but the king's personal fiefdom. Do you know what that means?
Fiefdom.
Fiefdom.
His own
playground.
Yeah.
The CFS, short for Congo Free State, was presented to the world as a model of liberty and prosperity devoted to the elimination of slavery. Only gradually did the world learn that it was in fact a slave state, in which the Congolese were ruled by terror. As Leopold raked in the riches from Congo's enormous reserves of copper, ivory and rubber, the Congolese were forced to work by wholesale mutilation of their wives and children, usually by chopping off their hands and feet. Mutilation was also widely used as punishment for workers who ran away or collected less than their quota. An investigation by the British consular officer Roger Casement revealed that the Belgian Force Publique regarded the Congolese as more than animals and to be killed for sport, as little more than animals and to be killed for sport. The king fought a high-profile battle to prevent details of his reign in Congo from being made public, and it took an international campaign to force him to hand Congo over to the Belgian government. Leopold's name is forever associated with the Congolese reign of terror, and that alone justifies his inclusion in this list.
Oh, very interesting.
Yeah. Our granddad was in the Congo.
Was he?
Yeah, I remember vaguely Dad telling me something about one. There were a lot of around 12 Irish soldiers were killed in the Congo in an ambush. But I think he was supposed to be on that or something, and I think my dad was being born, so he had to come back for that.
Oh.
So he would have been in that ambush, something like that. That might have not been the reason he came back, but I think he was supposed to be in that fleet that got massacred.
Yeah. Did you ever see that film?
Siege of Jodhaville or something.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm watching now, but yeah, it's supposed to be very good.
Yeah, it is very good. We watched it, didn't we? Oh.
It's about Congo.
It's a separate conflict. They didn't die in it, but basically, like, the Irish soldiers in it were like under attack in it, and there was little support from the UN. And then when they came back, because they ended up like killing, it was a messy affair. That like they came back and their names weren't really clear. They were a little bit tarnished, it seemed, and like there has been a campaign for years for those soldiers to have medals in their honour. So
They still haven't gotten.
I don't think so. I'm not too sure. But that's the mess. That's the messiness of war. What strikes me about all those is like that's all their reaction to power. And power is the most difficult thing in these circumstances, isn't it? When you look back at that king, or your man, the Pope. Like how do you think we should handle power, Mark?
How do I think we should handle power? I don't know. I think how do we handle it? What was I fucking listening to the other day? But they were talking about kind of the dangers of social media and the way the online world is going, and that generally people actually, this is a fucking idiot. I was listening to talking about this, but it raised an interesting point. Was that previously power was given to alpha male figures, the hunter gatherers, the ones who go out and like catch the food or whatever. But now it's being given to sort of beta male figures through the online world. People that would just kind of sit in the room all day and not go out or not work hard or stuff like this. So it's like, is there more chance of power being abused by someone who, the alpha male type figure or the beta male type figures? Someone who has never had power, maybe someone who's like quiet, introverted, bullied in school, and now they have power over the most important things in the world at the minute. Whereas previously it was like the providers that had power. Yeah. And now it's changing, and like which is more dangerous?
Does that come from like the comforts that we have in society? Like, in general, we're fortunate enough to,
definitely. But like previously, leaders and the ones with power were the outspoken, the high in extroversion, whatever. They were the leaders out in public forum. Whereas now they're people locked away in their bedrooms, or the people with power with no real accountability for their actions.
Right. And like, are we thinking like tech platform holders and this sort? Like,
yeah.
Right. Okay. It's a thought.
Yeah.
But
yeah. Like, who's more likely to abuse their power? Someone who maybe has been kind of an outcast their whole life and now has power.
Yes. But I still think of like Boris Johnson is in that position of accountability, and he's just going to survive it. He will survive. It's the same thing as what Donald Trump about shooting someone down on Fifth Avenue and you get away with it. Like, it's the same. I think the same aura applies.
Isn't it weird though how like negative public image is almost propelling people further now than positive?
Yeah.
Like, the more controversy there is around Donald Trump or there is around Boris Johnson, the more notoriety they get. Yeah,
but does it come back to bite you on the arse in the end? Like, Trump didn't get in this time, does it catch up on you?
Yeah. See, I don't know. Even look at like just celebrity in general. People get more famous for the more controversy there is around them.
Yeah.
Like your man Jake Paul, Conor McGregor, Boris Johnson, Donald Trump. The most famous people in the world are people that are seen as bad people. most powerful people. And the more attention they get, the way the world is now, the more money they can make through the attention they get.
Okay, so you think we're kind of in an attention economy more than anything?
Yeah, I think so. And positive attention is probably less valuable.
Yeah.
In a sense, not valuable in the word of true value, like, but valuable in terms of the numbers it can bring you in terms of attention.
Yeah, because it's undersold or it's understated, or
Yeah.
Gary Vee actually posted a reel about this only yesterday, about how he's putting out all this positive practical optimism and that sort of thing, but someone he met was like, but no one else does it, and like it seems like you're a voice in the wilderness then or whatever. But I think he's doing well enough to have led the way.
Do you know Dan Bilzerian?
No.
The man with all the women. I may show you him.
Right.
He's this American poker player. Or he was a poker... You know who Dan Bilzerian is. Yeah. He apparently made all his money playing poker, but he also had a very rich father, so he had a trust fund as well.
Right.
But like, you can have a quick stroll through his Instagram. He has like all these women and guns and parties, and he's a multi-millionaire. And he's very famous, very wealthy. But I was listening to him on a podcast with Jordan Belfort, The Wolf of Wall Street.
All right.
And he was basically talking about this sort of negative attention. Like, Annie, what's it called? Annie...
Is this lad married?
No, he's definitely not. He's definitely not. But he was saying that, you save 50 whales and no one cares, you kill one and you're on CNN.
Okay, right. So, and he was saying that, but he was bragging about that. He was embracing that?
Yeah,
or?
no, he hasn't killed a whale. But like he gets a lot of like negative stuff for the stuff he puts on Instagram. Yeah, he has like 30 million followers.
Okay.
And that's how he monetizes that.
Okay.
Because of the shit people give him for that, but he's just partying, with all these women and guns and money.
Okay.
And the more people complain about him, the more... And he understands that, like...
Okay.
And that was his sort of analogy he gave for it.
Yeah.
Which is kind of the world we live in.
But still, would you... So, okay, right, let's go here now.
I'm not... It's morally corrupt.
No, I don't mind that either.
I don't fuck
but
morals.
Mark Halpin, would you want to be Dan Bilzerian? Would you get a kick out of it?
I'd say maybe a day.
A day, yeah.
Yeah, I get tired of it.
I'm looking at it there and like, it's a different woman that he's on the couch with, and then he's in the jet ski with someone else, and like, you get confused, you forget the names.
I think he had 50 women on the go at one stage.
Right.
He was saying in this podcast. But, yeah. What's your question? Yeah, no, I wouldn't get sick of it, like...
Yeah, I just think that, I don't, like, that life wouldn't appeal to me. I know there's a lot of positives there, but like, I like the...
Ash.
I like the ash.
One is enough work.
But so, monarchy, like, I have another few things here.
Yeah.
Like, there's a few things like, on the 2nd of June 1953, that was selected for the coronation of Queen Elizabeth II because meteorologists had said that it was the most consistently sunny day in the calendar. However, it rained on the day. Elizabeth I was all for bowling, dice, playing cards and fencing clubs, while the majority and aldermen of London were not. I don't know what that has to do with anything. This is apparently an interesting fact that I got from...
Just on the months, there are 2 months in the year named after people. Do you know what they are?
July, I'm going to guess, and August.
Yes, well done.
Right.
2 Caesars.
2 Caesars.
Julius Caesar and his nephew Augustus.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, be good.
That came up in a game I was playing the other night.
All right.
Are you dumber than a box of rocks? So like the answer is always between like 0 and 2, and there's 2 rocks and you put them in a box and they have like a number on it. So you say like 1 or 2 for whatever the answer is. You shake the box and the box will say like 1 or 2 or 0, and then you move up the board and we lost to the box of rocks, I think.
Okay. They'll come up with anything now. We had a right game there. The meme, I was thinking, in business terms, I was thinking we can make an Irish version. What does the meme say or something like that?
What do you mean?
What do you mean? Yes, yeah. So there's a little stand that you have and a meme comes out, and then it's like Cards of Humanity. You have to then put down the best, most appropriate meme image.
We could do a gory one of that.
Gory one, yeah.
We could have like Fab and...
Fab, yeah.
Someone was
That's
asking
bang.
me last night, actually. Kenneth was asking me. It's like, so, do you do much prep for this podcast? And like, what he's talking about tomorrow and all? And I was like, well, like we have a team, but it always just comes back to Fab O'Brien.
That's lovely. I like that.
Yeah.
Homely. But yeah, the Danish constitution, their monarch is not answerable for his or her actions. His or her person is sacrosanct. That means it's sacred above and beyond criticism, change, or interference. It's some power position, isn't it?
Is it a king or a queen in Denmark?
Oh, that's a great question. I think it's a king because I think they have a king and a queen.
But they have a 4-day work week, don't they?
Do they?
I think, yeah. Denmark has the the best work to life or whatever it's called ratio. Work-life balance, that's it.
Right.
I think it's 4 days a week, and I think they have like maybe shorter days in the winter. I'm not sure. And that's where Copenhagen is, isn't it?
Yeah.
Everyone cycles everywhere.
Yeah, big cyclists. And but it rains or snows every second day. I would not be able for that.
Year round.
184 days of precipitation in 2009.
Fuck.
Yeah. Some going.
Yeah.
Um,
We're probably not far off.
we can't be. It's Quinquire,
A long winter.
long old winter.
We're out the back arse with no.
Oh, we are?
I don't
yeah.
know.
Yeah.
That's probably not a saying.
Have we any other thoughts, Mark Alpin?
Yeah, so I have another yoke here.
Oh,
who
yeah,
is
go.
History's truly insane ruler. I read a post.
Right.
So someone here has said Turkmenbashi soup, and then there's another name there from the former dictator of Turkmenistan. A few things he did include naming/renaming many things after himself, including a large town, the airport in the capital city, countless streets, schools and that kind of thing, a meteorite, and the month of January. He also renamed bread and April after his mother.
Oh, that's nice.
He made a legal requirement that his face be displayed on every clock and watch. He wrote a book called Ru Namna, which was apparently an attempt at creating a new religious text. It's required reading for everyone in Turkmenistan and must be displayed prominently in government offices. Mosques are required to display it next to the Quran. Citizens of Turkmenistan were required to memorize it in order to graduate from school or get a driver's license. He even decreed that reading it was a requirement for entering heaven. He banned newscasters from wearing makeup. He did this because he said he could not tell male and female anchors apart, which made him uncomfortable.
When did this band live?
I'll look it up there in a second, I didn't say. He outlawed gold teeth and fillings, saying that citizens should chew on bones to prevent tooth decay because dogs chew on bones and their teeth don't fall out. He ordered that an ice palace be built in the middle of the desert. I'll look this up now. Turkmenbashi. Sounds a bit like Mr. Finn. You might have to bleep that out. Oh, there's Saparamat. He died on the 21st of December 2006.
Oh, yes, right.
Not long ago. Another one I have here is, have you ever heard of Charles II, King of Spain?
No.
So he's the most inbred monarch in the world, and apparently he's more, the way his bloodlines worked, because this is the way the Spanish monarchy worked it, they all married their siblings to keep the bloodlines tight. So Charles was the result of 200 years of inbreeding, and apparently he was genetically more inbred than the child of a brother and a sister.
Oh my gosh, Jamie, man. And did he have any physical characteristics supposed to?
That's what he looked like.
Okay, right.
Yeah, not a handsome fella. Charles II of Spain, at the age of 4, could barely walk as he was still breastfeeding. At the age of 9, he couldn't read or write, and he died at the age of 38, and his death led to the War of Spanish Succession, killing between 400 and 700,000 people.
Oh my gosh.
So Charles II's most prominent feature was his jaw, known as the Habsburg jaw. That was their family name. That identified him as part of his royal family. His 2 rows of teeth could not meet. The king was unable to chew his food. Charles II's tongue was so huge that he could barely speak. He was not allowed to walk until he was almost fully grown, and his family didn't bother to educate him. The king was illiterate and totally dependent on those around him. Depression was a common thing among the Habsburgs. So was gout, dropsy, and epilepsy. The lower jaw was the kicker though, as it made Charles II seem stunted. His ministers and advisors suggested the next move in Charles II's Spain reign was to marry a second wife. Charles II of Spain was impotent and could not father children. It was part of his family legacy of inbreeding. He probably suffered from 2 genetic disorders. First, there was a combined pituitary hormone deficiency, a disorder that made him short, impotent, infertile, weak, and have a host of digestive problems. The other disorder was distal renar tubular acidosis, a condition marked by blood in the urine, weak muscles, and having an abnormally large head compared to the rest of his body.
Mother Ireland.
Yeah, that was the king.
Right. And I was also struck that, like, we must have a strange relationship with monarchy here, like, because we lash out at monarchy, and, like, has that ever struck you, Mark?
Yeah, we probably have a large disdain for it, I suppose.
Yeah.
Was there kings in Ireland before we were taken over by?
There was Gaelic chieftains, and there was a whole thing of the king's inaugurations. Like, I love this.
Right.
Like, they'd have the Keane family up in the O'Kanes up in Tyrone. They were so highly regarded by the O'Neills that the O'Kane would throw a shoe over the shoulder of the incoming O'Neill to say, this lad's a right fella, he's a good fella, he's good enough now, and let him in.
Throw a shoe over it, like.
He'd throw a boot over him, and then there'd be oh, right, get that man a bottle of pop, you know. Great excitement. So that's the legacy of the O'Kanes. What else? The chieftains. There was an inauguration site near the Gap pub, of course.
Really?
Yeah. So they get a big enough site. There was a big, massive mound of rocks. Eventually, it was quarried away. But, like, you can imagine, like, all the horses and all the people going up to the top of the site, to the summit, inaugurating the new chieftain of the clan. The E. Kinsella clan was inaugurated there. Yeah. Philly was.
That's where Philly was
That's
inaugurated.
the royal bloodline in Philly, Kinsella.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We just, this has nothing to do with that. Well, a little bit, but kind of like Irish history, and like so apparently my grandfather's father was born in North Kerry, and he was the youngest of 9. I think youngest 9, yeah. And he never met his 6th oldest siblings because they had all went to America before he was born. And they were all told that 3 of the brothers died in a car crash in New York, because that's where they went. And then recently, one of Dad's relatives in Kerry went to America and found the records. And the 3 brothers were actually killed in a shootout with the mob in Philadelphia.
No way.
Yeah. In the one shootout.
Genie Mac.
Yeah. So
did they get in? How were they connected to the mob? Were they in cahoots? What was
No, sorry, they're police officers.
Oh, right. Genie Mac.
Crazy, isn't it?
And they all entered the police. Wow.
Yeah. And they thought they just went to New York and died in a car crash there. They're
That's
actually
amazing.
cops in Philadelphia that got killed.
Genie Mac.
Yeah. It's very interesting.
That's fascinating. Yeah.
And that's not that long ago. Imagine never meeting 6 of your oldest siblings.
Yeah. It's hard to imagine that, isn't it? Yeah. Mark, what have we learned today?
Inbreeding is bad.
Yeah, it's a solid lesson.
You wouldn't trade places with Dan Bilzerian.
No, happy enough. And we still haven't figured out whether we want to exchange democracy for monarchy.
No, we don't. We still haven't found out who is your man who shall not be named.
You have to subscribe to the Patreon to find out more there.
You will.
But have a lovely day now.
You
Mind
too.
yourself.
Happy New Year.
Close the door on the way out if you don't mind.